Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, with the threat of a government shutdown averted, President Obama focused on fiscal responsibility, balancing the need to cut spending and the deficit while continuing to support education, clean energy, and other investments necessary to win the future. And the Amir of Qatar stopped by, as April 8th to the 14th, or open for business. On Friday, April 8th, budget negotiations continued, with President Obama working with congressional leadership to avoid a government shutdown that would go into effect Friday night at midnight. The staffs of all concerned parties had worked through the two previous nights. Around 10 p.m., a deal was struck, and the president went to the Blue Room to announce the compromise to the press and the American people.
In the final hours before our government would have been forced to shut down, leaders in both parties reached an agreement that will allow our small businesses to get the loans they need, our families to get the mortgages they applied for, and hundreds of thousands of Americans to show up at work and take home their paychecks on time, including our brave men and women in uniform. We're going to have to do more.
We have a lot more to do, but we had to start here.
Yeah.
On Saturday, April 9th, following the successful resolution of the budget crisis, President Obama made a surprise trip to greet tourists at the Lincoln Memorial, which is only open because of the tough choices included in the 11th hour bipartisan agreement.
I just want to say real quick that because Congress was able to settle its differences, that's why this place is open today and everybody's able to enjoy their visit. And that's the kind of future cooperation I hope we have going forward, because this is what America's all about. Everybody from different places enjoying those things that bind us together. And it's wonderful to spend time with you guys. I hope you have a great time.
On Monday, April 11th, the president had a battery of meetings, including one on Libya, to assess conditions on the ground after the change of command from the U.S. to NATO. The president also went outside to enjoy the warm spring weather.
Lovely day.
And surprise a tour group of students that the president mentioned in Friday night's speech.
How's everybody doing?
The 8th graders from Altona Middle School in Longmont, Colorado, had been concerned that their trip to Washington might be canceled due to a government shutdown. The mother of one of the students wrote President Obama a letter.
Not only did things work out, but we figured we'd give you a little bonus.
Thank you.
On Tuesday, April 12th, the president and the vice president joined the First Lady and Dr. Biden at the launch of their initiative called Joining Forces to support and honor America's service members and their families.
You are so funny. We really can't stop. Where'd you learn how to do that?
The event was the first of several in the First Lady and Dr. Biden's two-day tour around the nation to raise awareness about the need to support military families that sacrifice so much for this country.
Joining forces is a challenge to every segment of American society to take action, to make a real commitment to supporting and engaging these families. And I want to thank all of you here, because this campaign is the result of everything that so many of you have shared with us and taught us over the past 2 years.
On Wednesday, April 13th, the president and the vice president hosted a meeting with the bipartisan House and Senate leadership in the cabinet room.
Everybody have a seat, please.
To discuss the president's budget framework based on shared prosperity and fiscal responsibility, and that cuts the deficit by $4 trillion over 12 years. The president continued on this theme during a speech at the George Washington University, laying out a comprehensive balanced deficit reduction framework to cut spending and bring down our deficit while supporting the economic recovery and ensuring we are making the investments we need to win the future.
This debate over budgets and deficits is about more than just numbers on a page. It's about more than just cutting and spending. It's about the kind of future that we want. It's about the kind of country that we believe in.
On Thursday, April 14th, the president continued to work on America's financial future, meeting with the bipartisan chairs of his fiscal commission, Erskine Bowles and Alan Simpson, in the Oval Office. The president also welcomed the Amir of Qatar to the White House. Qatar is an important partner of the United States and works with us on a number of political and economic issues. Recently, Qatar has played a key role as a leading Arab contributor to the international coalition that's enforcing UN Security Council Resolution 1973 in Libya.
Thank you for your leadership on Libya, and we look forward to working with you for many years to come.
To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
There you are. I don't
Simpson and Erskine Bowles.
Nice to see you,
On the
gentlemen.
witness
How are you
protection
doing?
program.
If y'all take a seat, I'll let everyone know that you're here.
Huh?